Okay, be honest with me for a second. Are you struggling to study, feeling completely overwhelmed, or maybe just staring at a totally chaotic, messy dorm room right now? Look, if you're a university student nodding your head, let me just validate your reality. Balancing classes, exams, a social life, and your personal health, it's incredibly chaotic. It is so easy to feel completely paralyzed by the sheer volume of things you're supposed to be doing. But what if I told you that getting out of that rut and actually reaching your full potential doesn't require some massive, exhausting overhaul of your entire life tonight? Instead, your way out is just a 1% shift. It's what I like to call the 1% lifeline. You really don't need earth-shattering action to get your academic life together. You just need to understand the mechanics of tiny, seemingly insignificant changes. Welcome to this explainer on Atomic Habits, a student's guide to reaching full potential. Today, I'm going to step into a bit of a mentorship role for you using the phenomenal source material of James Clear's work. We're going to break down his insights and tailor them directly to you, the university student striving for that elusive balance and success. We'll look at the psychology of why you procrastinate, how to build unstoppable momentum, and how to actually maintain your motivation when those midterms hit hard. Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The myth of massive action. So we often convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action, right? You think that to get a 4.0 GPA or to get into top physical shape, you need to make some dramatic, immediate transformation that leaves you completely exhausted. But let's dispel that by looking at the author's own life. In 1998, he was hit directly in the face with a baseball bat. The impact was so severe it crushed his nose, shattered both eye sockets, and literally left him in a medically induced coma. Fast forward a bit, and his return to normal life was grueling. He was even cut from his high school varsity baseball team. But look at 2002. When he started college at Denison University, he didn't attempt a massive overhaul. Amidst the messy world of a college dorm, he just focused on building good sleep habits, going to bed early, and keeping his room neat and tidy. Really minor improvements. Yet, by 2006, he graduated with straight A's and was selected as an academic All-American. And here is the absolutely crucial point. There wasn't one defining cinematic moment of triumph in his journey from a coma to an academic All-American. The only way he made progress was by starting small. He relied on improving just 1% every single day. It's a gradual evolution. Which brings us to a quote that brilliantly illustrates the core philosophy of our source material. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. Keeping your room clean or lifting weights might seem like a drop in the bucket on a random Tuesday afternoon, but over a 4-year college career, those tiny, consistent habits compound into unimaginable results. Ultimately, you get what you repeat. Part 2. Start with your identity. So how do you actually make these small habits stick when the temptation to sleep in or skip studying is just so strong? You have to shift your mindset. See, the problem most students face is that they build outcome-based habits. You say, I want to get straight A's or I want to lose 10 pounds. But true behavior change is identity change. The shift needs to be, I am a dedicated student. If your underlying identity is someone who consumes rather than creates or prioritizes short-term comfort over real accomplishment, you're always going to be pulled back toward your old bad habits. You literally have to change who you believe you are. Now, how do you do that? You don't just snap your fingers and magically become someone new. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Read one page? Boom. You just cast a vote for being a reader. Practice one equation? You're a mathematician. Clean your desk? You're casting a vote for being an organized person. Open your notes? You're a dedicated student. You don't need unanimous votes to win an election, and you don't need to be perfect. You just need the majority of your daily votes to align with the identity of the successful student you want to be. Part 3, the 2-minute roll road route. Now that we have the mindset down, I want to give you immediate, actionable strategies to overcome that academic paralysis tonight. Our source defines the 2-minute rule incredibly simply. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Excitement inevitably takes over when we want to make a change, and we almost always end up trying to do way too much, way too soon. This psychological framework forces you to shrink massive, intimidating goals down to tiny, completely non-threatening entry points. Let's look at how this scales down in reality. Your ultimate goal might be earning a PhD or acing a brutal final exam. That's very hard. Your gateway habit? Just open your notes. That's very easy. Need to write a massive research paper? Your gateway habit is writing one single sentence. Need to study for 3 hours? Study for 10 minutes. The goal isn't just to do the 2 minutes. The goal is to master the habit of showing up. Here is your exact roadmap to start this today. Step 1, pick your academic habit. Step 2, scale it way down. Step 3 is the magic mental trick. Do it for 2 minutes and strictly stop. Seriously, if it feels forced, literally shut your book after 2 minutes. Why? Because a habit must be established before it can be improved. You have to standardize before you can optimize. If you can't master the basic skill of showing up for 2 minutes, you have zero hope of mastering a 3-hour study session. Part 4, the Goldilocks zone of motivation. So, you've started showing up. Amazing. But what happens a month into the semester when the initial excitement fades? Classes get harder and maintaining motivation becomes a daily struggle. Well, the science behind our drive is fascinating. The Yerkes-Dodson law shows that the human brain actually loves a challenge, but only if it sits perfectly within an optimal zone of difficulty. Think about it. If you're playing tennis against a 4-year-old, you get bored. If you play Serena Williams, you lose motivation because it's just too hard. Maximum motivation happens right there in the middle, when you are facing a challenge of just manageable difficulty. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. As a mentor, my advice to you is to deliberately design your study sessions to exist right on the perimeter of your abilities. If you just review flashcards you already know perfectly, you will literally die of boredom. But if you jump straight into the hardest theoretical concepts without knowing the basics, you'll crash right into failure and anxiety. You need to consistently seek out the edge of your current abilities to keep your focus laser sharp. Part 5, falling in love with boredom. This brings us to our final hurdle, the place where great students truly separate themselves from the rest, the endurance phase. There's this fascinating story from the author about an elite weightlifting coach who trained Olympians. The author asked him what actually separates the best athletes from everyone else. Is it genetics? Is it luck? The coach said at some point it comes down to who can handle the boredom of training every day, doing the exact same lifts over and over again. The greatest threat to success is not failure, it's boredom. The secret is that successful people feel the exact same lack of motivation as you do. They just find a way to show up anyway. And that is the true difference between professionals and amateurs. Professionals stick to the schedule and work with purpose. Amateurs, they let the urgencies of life pull them off course. I want to challenge you right now to stop being a fair weather student. You know, the kind who only studies when they're feeling inspired or when the deadline is 2 hours away. When your academic success is truly important to you, you have to put the reps in, regardless of your mood. Which brings us to the paradox of small changes. Think about a single coin. One coin doesn't make you rich, and realistically, 1 minute of studying doesn't help you pass the exam. In the beginning, your tiny improvements seem utterly meaningless because they just get washed away by the weight of your current system. But if you relentlessly stack thousands of atomic habits, sleeping well, doing your 2 minutes of reading, casting those votes for your identity, you eventually cross what the author calls the plateau of latent potential. Suddenly, the scales tip, the system starts working for you, and success seems to happen all at once. But make no mistake, it was the daily, boring grind that built it. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. You have the tools now. You know about the 1% shift. You know how to cast votes for your identity, and you've got the 2-minute rule. But when that initial excitement inevitably fades and the semester gets really hard, are you willing to fall in love with boredom to reach your full potential? The choice of who you become is entirely inside your daily habits. Start small, today.